Hello everybody, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. My name is D-Free, and in this video we're going to go ahead and cover Broly, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the character, his breakdown and all that, and see how truly OP Broly actually is at this point of the game. Hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe if you happen to be new, of course, for more content here on the channel. That being said, earlier today I did put up a summon video for this character, in fact, and I will have one tomorrow, so make sure that you guys do stay tuned for that. Turn on notifications if you would like to stay notified, of course, so you don't miss anything. I know YouTube still has issues with sub boxes, etc., etc., etc. Excuse me. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump in. To begin, first and foremost, Broly has the Saiyan tag, which means, again, he's going to be one of those characters on that incredibly OP Saiyan team with Vegeta, with the Goku variants and stuff like that. So Broly is able to benefit from that. So starting off, that's already a really big buff for this character. He also has Super Saiyan, which right now I think there's only a couple of characters actually in the game. Yes, there is, that have the Super Saiyan tag. So in the future, that'll be really OP, I imagine, but don't know right now because there's not enough Super Saiyans. But as you see, there's tons of Saiyans already. There's nothing to translate, Google. You're drunk. Anyways, let's go ahead and move back. Other than that, he's a melee-type character, so he's going to try to excel at strike abilities. I believe he holds one strike and one blast card. I don't think that the site says it. So, Renzi, if you're listening, add it to the site, please. There's a couple things you need to add to these characters. Anyways, as it pertains to Broly, though, his HP and all that looks pretty awesome. His strike attack is incredibly high, though. 240k at max value. That is an insane overall high attack stat. That is ridiculous. To begin, you can already see how OP he's going to be when it comes to the physical arts cards. So other than that, let's go ahead and take a look at the character's main ability. Say goodnight! Draw the ultimate arts card, Gigantic Meteor, next. And you have to wait 25 timer counts. So basically 25 in-game seconds. Why that's significant is because in between, like, you know, little things like combos and stuff like that, the timer actually stops. So you have to wait that amount of time, and then you're able to get the main ability, which allows you to draw another card. Now, you may remember this from a character like Goku, who's also in the Super Saiyan tag. This character is able to go ahead and pick up the Dragon Fist, Super Dragon Fist, which I guess it's not really a Dragon Fist, but yeah, that is one of the things that this character was really, really good at. You know, he can use his main ability, or he can use his normal, like, special, the Super Kamehameha, and then from there, use a main ability, pick up the Super Dragon Fist, use that as well, and all of a sudden, you're doing a ton of damage because of the fact that you're able to blast off 2 Ultimate Arts cards consecutively. And then what's really OP about those types of abilities is the secondary one that you pick up from the main ability has a really low cost, like 20 cost to use, so it's really easy as opposed to the normal special that has the 50 cost. So keep that in mind too. Let's go ahead and bounce back over to Broly. Z ability, plus percentage increase, 17%, etc., etc., to episode sagas from the movie's base blast defense. So that is another category he should be in, or that's his episode, excuse me. So it's interesting to see them apply buffs to the episode, like the era that the character is from. So that's interesting to me. I thought they were only going to pull from, like, maybe color or the character tags, but nonetheless, they're also pulling from the episode the character's from, or that type of deal. And the only other characters this applies to right now are the Pycon characters. Now, in the future, this is going to be pretty awesome. We're going to have access to more Brolys. We're going to have access to all the movie villains like Lord Slug, Janemba, Cooler, all of that. We're going to have access to that. They all should be in here. So in the future, that type of Z ability will help out all of them. I think it's kind of random, though. I think base blast defense is such a weird stat to increase, because right now, as it pertains, that applies to Broly. And Broly already has a massively high strike attack and, you know, a really solid blast attack as well, for what it's worth. So I can see why they would be apprehensive about giving him the ability to increase either of those 2 stats with the Z ability, again, because it would also pertain to him. But as it pertains to the other characters, I mean, Pycon is the best one other than Broly right now, and this isn't really doing much for Pycon. Yeah. He's going to be better defensively, I guess. Pycon has very underwhelming strike attack, so, you know, it's not doing that much for him off the bat anyway. So nonetheless, so again, in the future, that could be pretty awesome. So I'm not going to hold that against him. It's just kind of like, why? But I get why, because they didn't want to give him the ability to buff the other stats. By the way, this character has a pretty solid ki restore speed. 2,000 is a really solid number, to be honest. He regenerates ki really fast in comparison to Goku. Goku's is at 1,600. Pycon's, I think, is about there, too. I think all the Sparkings before Broly are about 1,600 ki restore speed, aside from Pan, which that's her one redeeming factor character anyway. She excels at that, and she's one of the best, if not the best character in the game, which I believe she is the best anyway, at doing that. So 1600 on Piccolo, and then 1800 here. Pan's, I think, about 22 or so, but she also has the abilities. 26, yeah, Pan is ridiculous at restoring ki. So that's another thing. Broly picks up ki really fast, so he's able to start popping his arts cards a lot quicker than other characters. So comparing him to a similar character who's this Goku, who's a ranged character, but still kind of does a lot of the similar things, he's faster than Goku in that he's able to pop those off a little bit more. Just because of this right here. But of course, this is kind of subjective because it depends on your playstyle. If you sit there and restore your ki by charging, you know, then that's a little different. Where I find this is really cool is when you just kind of get the ki restoring on its own, which unfortunately they disable the ability to restore ki while dashing. So that's something to consider as well. Unique ability for this character. So he has two of them actually. Intimidate, ki recovery down. So cause enemy to have minus 15% of their ki recovery for 15 timer counts, which, like I said, is for all intents and purposes longer than 15 in-game seconds, or 15 real-life seconds, every time character enters the battlefield. You know why they put that last half on there, the every time the character enters the battlefield? It's because if your opponent has one guy left, you have Broly out there or whatever, you know, and you swap out the Broly again, you swap out the Broly again, and you just can... I guess you could technically spam it, but you can't really spam it because it doesn't last long enough. But still, that's kind of why they put that on there. That's pretty interesting, though. So, I don't know. Or maybe it's the other way around, when the opponent enters the battlefield. Which either way, that's actually a little bit worse, because what that means is while Broly's on the board, if they switch... That's probably what it really means, to be honest. When Broly's on the board, they switch. Whoever they switch into gets that debuff, 15%. What that really is good for, and you know, coupling that with his already good, and there are characters in the game that are really good at this type of thing. When it's Pan, it's Pikkon, and now Broly, that are able to allow you to get a very, honestly, I don't want to call it unfair, but it's kind of like bordering on unfair. They're able to get you an unfair, quote-unquote, advantage in terms of being able to use more arts cards than your opponent because they're limiting how your opponent is able to do stuff. You know, and they're like Pikkon raising the cost of their arts cards. Pan, you know, her ability to just consistently raise yours up really, really fast. I think she also debuffs the opponent too. I'd have to go back and double check, so don't quote me on that. But Broly here for sure doing that. And this is a unique ability. He doesn't have to use a card for this. This is just something that's automatically active. So awesome character off the bat. Goku, or Fake Goku, strike attack up. Plus 20% to own strike damage for 15. Oh, of course. 15 timer counts when facing against character Goku. So he gets 20% more strike damage if he goes up against the Goku. He's going to destroy a Goku. Kakarot! Specialist Blaster Shell deals major explode damage, causes enemy to receive 15% more strike damage for 15 timer counts, with a 30% chance to inflict feint. This is honestly unnecessary. It just makes this better than it really needs to be. Giving feint, you know, this is almost a 1 in 3 chance to do it, so it's not like it's always going to happen, but if it does, you might as well just give up on that character at that point, because there's not much you can do, if anything, anyway. Also, his extra card, Gigantic Claw, is right here, plus 15% to own ki recovery. So, he debuffs the opponent's ki recovery, but also gives himself more ki recovery, and he inflicts forced switching. So, if he uses the green card, it's pretty awesome. The animation's pretty awesome. He doesn't take like a pose or anything. He freaking like throws them out into the atmosphere. He forces your opponent to switch, which is OP to begin with. That is insane. That alone is insane. Forcing a switch is wild, because what if that's a character that has a disadvantage, you know? What if they only have 2 characters left? And I don't know if that'll allow them to switch back. I don't know if they get the little switch counter on the character to where that character's locked in the battle all of a sudden. Or what if that gives you just, you know, the setup that you would need? That's a really good ability. It really is. But not alone, he also, again, increases his own ki recovery speed. And then otherwise, ultimate special that he would pick up with his other ability up here, his main ability right here, deals major explode damage. It doesn't have any sort of other effect, but it doesn't really need it because it's still doing a ton of damage. So, for all intents and purposes, Broly is busted. Like, he is the best character in this game, and I really don't think it's that close. this is an interesting development because when I was looking at the other characters and I was looking at their data mine abilities, none of them really struck me as being like OP. But I didn't have any information on BROLY. BROLY, honestly, to me, just seems, I don't know, like, I don't want to see too many characters like this that have too many OP abilities. Like, he's doing too many things, you know? So it's going to really come down to how competitive this game will be. And unfortunately, with this game that's heavy PvP focused, they want you to play PvP every chance they can get. They even have a daily mission to force you to play it at least once. It's sad to say, but I can already see the sowing for like a couple years down the line where this game is just like, wow. You know, incredibly OP, you know, unbalanced characters. Now, it depends on how they handle it. But, I mean, this is a really big jump from the previous, you know, the launch Sparkings. Not to say they're not good. They're great. It's just a new character pops in and immediately seems like he's better than all of them. And he's also a blue typing. So, if we look at all the other Sparkings, who is he really at a disadvantage against anyway? So, let's go back over to the characters. The only issue he would really have was with Piccolo, you know? He destroys Goku, not to mention he has type advantage over Goku, but he has that secondary unique ability that is just like, yeah, Goku, sorry. And same applies to this Goku. He will destroy this Goku because he gets the extra arts damage. Pan, she just doesn't have the stats, but she might be able to spam BROLY down. Piccolo can beat BROLY easy. Now, not to mention that they all can technically beat each other. They all can beat BROLY. It's just I'm trying to take the perspective of what you would have an easier time with. Pycon, he can beat BROLY, definitely. I don't really see any reason as to why he couldn't, to be honest. I mean, they're neutral to each other, so BROLY doesn't have any other innate advantages. Also, Pycon, I believe, is better at inflicting feint. Actually not. 20% chance at inflicting feint. So, never mind. But then there's Vegeta, who just spams at you. So, yeah, Vegeta can probably do it, too. But it's like, just BROLY, you know? He seems really OP. So, there's got to be some other character flaw. I mean, his punches and kicks seem kind of slow, but that really doesn't matter in a game like this. Because of the fact that, you know, even though he has like that grappler type of playstyle, it doesn't really matter because the opponent can't really move out of that type of stuff. There's no defensive mechanics to get you out of those types of hits anyway, so it doesn't really matter how quick the combos are or anything like that. So, it's more of an aesthetic thing, but yeah, BROLY's OP, and that's pretty obvious. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Is this awesome? Do you like this? Do you want BROLY to be OP? I think it's fine because for the most part, I mean, narratively speaking, it's BROLY, and he's going up against all these other, you know, early Dragon Ball characters, Dragon Ball Z characters, nonetheless. If you wanted to compare him, you know, there's Pan, who's not really that important offensively or defensively in the series for the most part, although her scaling is busted in GT. And then we have Pycon, who doesn't really make much appearances anyway. So it's kind of all over the place. But, you know, I get it from that perspective. It's just, I'm kind of interested to see how other Sparkings pop in and what they do. Because if the next Sparking is just, like, ridiculously OP, even in comparison to BROLY, then that's going to be a bad trend. So hopefully we can avoid that. But have an awesome day. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.